So another good test you can do, and if you look at Shirley Sarman's book, she goes into great detail on this. It's called prone knee flexion test, and you can get a real good idea of relative flexibility among the quads and some of the hip flexors there, and the supporting cast of the lumbopelvic area. And we'll pull up a video here, and you guys can look at some of these specified notes here if you wish to. The main deal I want you to get through with this presentation right here is that not only do you have to get increased release or lengthening of a muscle that is stiff, sometimes you need to increase the stiffness of another muscle around there in order to make things better. So if we look here, we'll have her flex her knee, and reminder here, do these tests both actively and passively to see what changes when you look at each different thing. So ideally we should be able to get that knee flexion with nice solid stability around the lumbopelvic area. Okay. Now if you have to get some rotation or tilt around there in order to get motion here, whether it's short like we showed there or just a little stiffer like before, we should not have to move here in order to get that motion. So we'll show this in a second here. So when you come there, see how she had to move here to get that. So in this case, we would find out whether or not that quad is stiff or short, and then we would need to increase the stiffness of the supporting cast around the lumbopelvic area there, which is usually going to be external obliques to support that spine a little better. So we want to be nice and stable here while we get the movement here. And that quad can either be stiff or short, or you can just have instability around the lumbopelvic area as well. That's up for you to determine. Main deal being, I just want you guys to realize that it's not always just decreasing a stiffness or shortness of a muscle. A lot of times it's also increasing the stiffness somewhere else to even out the relative flexibility among adjacent joints. Okay, so just bear that in mind there. And another point being here, if you don't have that control, in this case by the external obliques, and you're not stable around that lumbopelvic area, which is kind of that transfer point when you're trying to develop force, whether you're swinging a baseball bat, throwing a punch, squatting, whatever it may be, you want to have that solid stability there. So you'll have energy leaks and a loss of power if you don't have that ideal relative flexibility among those kind of joints.